SocialEdge interviews social entrepreneurs who tackle some of the world's biggest problems. They are pioneers of innovation that benefit humanity.
My name is Sam Goldman. I'm the CEO of d.light Design, and we're a new Silicon Valley startup. And what we're doing is we're developing and commercializing ultra-affordable light and power solutions for families that don't have access to electricity. And the idea is that about 1.6 billion people, so about 1 in 4 people in the world right now, don't have access to electricity or good sources of light to see at night. And we're going to change all that. I was in the Peace Corps in West Africa, in a country called Benin. And I was posted in a village named Ginaguru, which is about 20 kilometers away from the Nigerian border. And I didn't have any electricity in the village, no running water, no telephones, really nothing. And so I spent 4 years while I was there. And every night I'd wait till the last possible second, and then I'd light up my kerosene lantern just like everybody else in the village. And it's the type of thing, there's just sort of noxious fumes, it smells really bad. I'd go to bed really early because you couldn't really see very well. And so I was dissatisfied with kerosene to start with. And I came back once from a trip from Peru, which is the 3rd largest town in Benin. And I went over to visit my neighbor. He's the director of the primary school. And his son was completely burned from head to toe. And it had been a kerosene fire. And he spent basically the next 3 months lying on his stomach and he couldn't move. And it lodged in my head. And I started researching kerosene. I learned millions of children and families, they're losing their houses, neighborhoods are being burned down, and people are dying because of kerosene, and it was really bothering me. And at the same time, I had a friend who went to Walmart, bought a couple $1 headlamp, and had sent it to me. It was an LED headlamp. And I was at a marriage ceremony in my village one night. It was about 1 a.m. People were playing the drums, there was a lot of dancing going on, and they'd rented out a little petrol generator, and they strung it up with fluorescent lights. And something happened to the generator and the lights went out. And there was sort of this hush for a second, and I pulled out this little tiny headlamp. It was in the palm of my hands. It runs off 2 AA batteries, and I turned it on, and it lit up the entire area. The dancing started going, and basically the wedding continued. And I had this aha moment where I realized, this little thing that I have that only costs a couple of dollars can, effectively replace the kerosene lanterns I've been using, and which are, burning and maiming children all over the world. And I wrote to all the LED companies, and of course, I said, I'll be your distributor, there's a huge need here, let's make this happen. And nobody wrote me back. And it wasn't until I got to Stanford, and I picked the MBA program at Stanford specifically because there's a class called Entrepreneurial Design for Extreme Affordability. And here I got into this class, and it's basically engineers, MBAs, different disciplines at Stanford that come together to solve this problem of how do you design for people, families at the base of the pyramid, when most products in the world, 90% of design is for 10% of people. And we're doing the opposite. We're designing for the 90%. And I happened to get on this amazing team with different engineers and MBAs, and we were looking at light and power. And for the last 1.5 years, we've been working together nights and weekends in a couple different classes, and now we've come up with products which we're going to launch. And so that's how I got here. This, as a social entrepreneur, what really gets me excited about the business I'm in and trying to bring better light and power to families is that this is something to me that is measurable and possible. In 2017, in 10 years, I firmly believe that there does not have to be a single family in the entire world that is still using a kerosene lantern. I'm not trying to eradicate poverty. I'm not trying to eliminate all communicable diseases. I think this is something that the community of social entrepreneurs can get together and achieve. And why wouldn't we do it? And I already see, in 2 months we're going to be launching a product which is safer, brighter, more affordable than any kerosene lanterns or other solutions that are out on the market right now that we can be proud of, and that 1 million other entrepreneurs are going to build on as soon as we get this out there. And these are the types of things I want to see in 2017, where no neighbors are getting burned, nobody's taking out insurance on kerosene because their neighborhoods are burning down, where families are taking the money they would normally spend on kerosene and using it for education and food and clothes, where students are able to actually study at night in a more effective way. And finally, And we don't really think about this, but in a world where LEDs essentially are replacing incandescent bulbs and CFLs so that we don't need new coal-powered plants and we don't need to keep putting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So right now I'm focused on lighting, and I think there's going to be a lighting revolution, and I think 10 years is a pretty reasonable time frame.
Global X is also on Social Edge at socialedge.org.